Hello everyone, welcome back to Zeta's video. So basically, this is a little bit of a different type of video just because I've never really done a video on like a game that's a little bit old and talk about basically over analyzing things that people may have missed while playing the game, and there's like questions and concerns about like what the frick happened. So I honestly thought this would be a fun video to do, and this could be an experiment of whether you guys like it or not. So there was a lot of things that I've noticed with the Life is Strange first game, and obviously it was a big success. Obviously everyone loved the game. I even loved that game, and I was like pretty young. I think I was maybe 15 or probably younger, probably like 14 when I played it. Yeah, I think I was like 14 or 15, something like that. I don't know the exact year, but my point is that everyone loved the first game, and then there's people that don't really like the first game, which is fine, that's their own opinion. But I really wanted to see like why they disliked the first game, and really it was about the dynamic between Max and Chloe. Obviously you guys might say to yourself like, what's the issue? Apparently there's a lot of issues, which I think we ignored a lot of them, which I never really thought about until now. So it's pretty interesting to see them now. So I'm basically going to talk about like why, or did Chloe never like Max theory. So this is a pretty bold claim just because of the fact that obviously they were shown to be best friends throughout the whole game, but there are a lot of issues with their friendship, which I'm going to mention to you now. So obviously Max Caulfield left Chloe Price when she was about like 13 years old, when they were young, pretty much I guess young teens, and basically that was around the time where Chloe's father died, so that makes sense, right? Max leaves away, comes back to Arcadia Bay, and then they meet up in episode 1, and basically we found out that Max never responded to Chloe's text messages, so we're in a little bit of defense with Chloe, right? Because Max never made the effort to talk to Chloe, so it's kind of unknown why she did that. It's kind of like, I think it just happened, I guess. I know these types of friendships happen, but they used to be really good friends back in the day. I want you guys to remember that. They were really good friends back then, and now they're adults. So basically in episode 1, we basically follow around Chloe, and she doesn't really know we have powers yet. We basically explain to her in episode 2. And so really episode 1 was really like the introduction of Chloe and like what type of character she is. It makes sense, right? Well, with episode 2, it's a little bit weird. With episode 2, obviously Chloe doesn't believe you having time travel powers, and so you basically have to prove to her that you have time travel powers, which is not really an issue. Also, they probably done this on purpose just for a puzzle segment, so hey, it's cool. But in this exact scene, Max gets a phone call from Kate, and Max has a decision to answer the phone call or to decline the phone call. If you choose to accept the phone call, Chloe will give you a really bad attitude. Obviously, this is a little bit weird just because of the fact that Max just showed Chloe these awesome time traveling powers, and Chloe's just being addicted just because Max had to be on the phone for like 10 seconds. Like, this is something that I don't understand. You could technically say it's bad writing, but it's kind of weird how Chloe gets insensitive when Max has other people in her life. So it's kind of like a little bit like rude to her, because obviously we know that Chloe likes Rachel Amber a lot. Rachel Amber is Chloe's best friend. But for Max to like answer a phone call, it seems kind of a little bit out of character. Not really out of character, but like a little bit like rude, and like you want the center of attention just to ignore the phone call after Max just revealed to you her powers. So that's why I found a little bit weird with this scene. And so basically there was a junkyard scene. Max is demonstrating powers. Obviously Max gets knocked out and her nose is bleeding. This is obviously like a sign that Max is using too much of her time traveling powers, which is having too much of a consequence. And in this scene, I believe Chloe gets mad just because of the fact that you're not using enough. And also, even if it wasn't that scene, I know in previous scenes she keeps pressuring Max into like using her powers. So to be fair, it is kind of Chloe's fault, even if it's not intentional. But I have to see again on the clips of like what exact quotes she said, just to make sure I'm confirming it, and you guys will see.
This isn't a toy, Chloe. I do have to be careful how I use it.
Screw that! Of course it's a toy. The best toy ever? You can bang anyone with no strings attached, rewind time, and boom! It's like it never happened.
Check out your nose. Too much blow? Hey, are you okay?
Too much excitement. See what happens when we hook up again?
Then, let's go to one of my secret lairs and fully test your power.
You need a sidekick to guide you.
But yeah, we're gonna go to episode 3. Episode 3 is a pretty interesting one, and this is where Chloe gets like really shitty attitude. I'm sorry to say that, but it's true. She's like straight up like just rude in this. So basically in episode 3, there's basically a choice if Chloe wants to steal the money from the handicap to pay off her drug dealer's bills basically, and Max can obviously say yes or no to this, and this really questions Chloe's, I guess, person, because how far are you willing to go to pay your drug dealer if you're gonna steal money from the handicap, especially since they just broke into the school. So I find it to be extremely selfish, and I'm not sure why you would want to root for Chloe in this segment. I think people root for Chloe just because obviously they're best friends, and it could be possible that the player was a little bit peer pressured by Chloe, and Chloe was pressuring this decision a lot. So that's something interesting that happened, which is kind of annoying now thinking about it. Later in episode 3, basically, Chloe gets mad because they find out that David is filming students in the school campus, and so obviously there's another decision where Max has to make, where she has to either accept, I like knocked my table. But yeah, there's a decision where Max has to either side with David or side with Chloe, and it's pretty weird why Chloe is a little bit being rude about David in this situation, just because of the fact that obviously Max and Chloe have been doing their own investigation on like what happened to Rachel Amber, and throughout the game you can really tell that David really does care about like what's happening in Blackwell Academy, even if he's not showing it like right away, and obviously he's shown us as a mean antagonist when really he helped out in episode 5 when Mr. Jefferson literally captured Max. So if you side with Chloe, obviously David will be sad because he basically got kicked out of his own house. And this is the interesting part. If you side with David, Chloe gets really mad and doesn't see you sticking up for her. Like, what? Like, they literally have been doing their own investigation. They illegally stole money from the principal's office and like broke into the school, and then they went like swimming, and they were still doing a bunch of their own investigations. Even in episode 4, I think they like shot the dog and Frank, and so it really questioned on like how fucked up like their friendship dynamic is. Like, I don't think Chloe is a bad person, I just think she has bad intentions a little bit, but some of them come to a little bit of being selfish, and so there's a theory about how maybe Chloe didn't really like Max at all, how she really only liked her for time travel abilities, and that's a pretty interesting theory to talk about, because when they first meet up, obviously they meet through nostalgia of like how they were best friends before, and then as soon as Chloe finds out that Max has time travel abilities, she obviously wants to take advantage of them. Even in this scene, it talks about how Chloe doesn't want Max to rewind his choice. Like, you can tell that Chloe is just favoring like this moment, so that proves my point.
Max, that gave me chills. And you better not rewind this one.
In episode 5, this is pretty much the big one. Obviously, there was like I'm gonna mention this partly because it's not that big of a deal. It is technically a big deal, but my point is that in this scene, obviously when Max was warning Chloe about Mr. Jefferson, Chloe didn't want to listen to Max, so that really shows how far Chloe is not gonna be willing to listen, even though Max has little time traveling abilities. So that's what I found kind of annoying with that scene with episode 5, just because of the fact that, of course, you can say it's a puzzle segment, but the fact that Chloe was not listening to Max, who literally saw what happened, is definitely really annoying to see. So I don't know, I wonder what you guys take on this. But yeah, the last thing I want to talk about is the ending, where it showed Chloe as an actual good person for once, to actually like sacrifice Arcadia Bay instead of her. And so it's kind of weird though of how like she changed like fast. From what I've heard from other people, some say that this is like pure manipulation, to where you guilt trip someone into not like sacrificing you, obviously. And so obviously you wouldn't want to have Chloe beg the player to not sacrifice her, but at the same time they have to make it like a her choice. So obviously they had to make Chloe like really empathetic, is that the word? They had to make Chloe like really just like, oh Max, you gotta save Arcadia Bay pretty much. Even this scene I'm about to show you, it proves my point.
Maybe you've just been delaying my real destiny. Look at how many times I've almost died or actually died around you. Look at what's happened in Arcadia Bay ever since you first saved me. I know I've been selfish, but for once, I think I should accept my fate. Our fate.
Chloe!
Max, you finally came back to me this week, and you did nothing but show me your love and friendship. You made me smile and laugh like I haven't done in years. Wherever I end up after this, in whatever reality, all those moments between us were real, and they'll always be ours. No matter what you choose, I know you'll make the right decision.
Chloe, I can't make this choice.
No, Max. You're the only one who can.
But yeah, were Max and Chloe really friends? I think they were friends, but through nostalgia. It's kind of dumb how Max, like, I guess, put up with Chloe and not stand up to Chloe. That's something I really disliked about Max's character, just because of the fact that she didn't really like to, I guess, stand up for herself, and so Max was never that type of character to really stand up to herself. But she did have really cool abilities, which was unfortunately, in a way, possibly taken control of by Chloe at times. So that's something that I find a little bit ridiculous in terms of Chloe and Max's relationship. But for some reason, I like them both as a dynamic. I don't know why. If they were to make a sequel somehow with Max and Chloe, I would assume that they would fix this issue and they would not make them like a toxic relationship. I don't know. I know in the comics, Max and Chloe are like friends, but like, I'm not sure how good the dynamic is. I have to actually read the comics. Maybe I'll make a video about it one day. But I wanted to end this video with you guys. I really want to know if you guys enjoyed these types of videos of me making theories about old classic game. I was thinking of doing maybe making a cut content video. I would love to maybe do that possibly. Not with just Life is Strange, but maybe with other games that I just find interesting that not a lot of people talk about. That would be really interesting to do. But I just want to know if you guys like this video, because I know people like these types of theories where they really go in-depth discussion, thinking about like, oh, the possibilities, like what ifs, I guess you could say. So let me know down in the comment section down below if you guys like these types of videos, and it'll give me an idea if I'll continue these or not. So be sure to let me know. And yeah, I hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you guys did enjoy this video, be sure to leave a like, share, subscribe, and yeah, I shall see you guys later in the next video. Goodbye.